skin, hair, nail problems. But it's not just that. Mulberries are powerful. They are the superfood, just like the wild blueberry. And we're going to go into a bunch of details on the mulberries. And I can't wait. I'm actually really excited because mulberries are really dear to my heart for so many reasons. Because I grow mulberries, and I've grown mulberries my whole life, and my family's grown mulberries. We'll talk about that a little bit too later. And maybe we'll sit around the table, the little round table in the kitchen, and we'll talk about all the mulberry tips. If you're a mulberry grower, connoisseur, till I give you a couple of really incredible tips. Right now, we're talking about reversing conditions and symptoms, and a lot of people freak out about their skin. I mean, they freak out. I mean, they get facelifts. They get facelifts. They're freaking out so much about their skin. They get facelifts. That's happening every day. Every day in Hollywood, every day in the industry, every day, like, it's just out there. Just not even just that, not even Hollywood, forget that. Just in the suburbs, wherever. Women are all getting their face lifted. And guess what too? Yeah. Not just getting their fox eyes and all that. They're not just getting the whole fox eye thing where boom, 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 and their eyes are like this now. I'm not judging. That's not what it is. I'm not talking like, I'm just saying people are freaked out about their skin and wrinkles and skin problems and collagen and all this other stuff. They're just freaked out about it so much. We're talking about a food out of life-changing foods. Let's go. New edition, new edition. It is about to actually get released pretty soon. Get a pre-order. Make sure you lock it down. Do not purchase the paperback on Amazon. Whatever you do in the US, it is a fraudulent book that found its way on the medical medium Life-Changing Foods Expanded Edition page. Get the hardcover. So you got to go to Amazon and get the hardcover because the paperback is a fraud book. A fraud book. So I'm just letting you know. That's what it is. I just saw it yesterday. It popped up yesterday or something like that, where I looked on Amazon on the medical medium, book page, right? Life-Changing Foods page, the new edition page, okay? And I was expecting just to see the hardcover, and then I saw the paperback. There is no paperback. It doesn't even make any sense. And then it had 108, you can look down and you looked at the details of the paperback, it had 181 pages. Dude. The Life-Changing Foods new edition is close to 600 pages. It was a fraud book. I contacted the publisher immediately. Do not purchase the paperback in the US, whatever you do. There is no paperback in the US. Anyway, here we are. So you go to Amazon, go to Barnes, get the hardcover, pre-order it, get the pre-order. Please do it because you won't be sorry. You'll get that book quick when it's released and you won't be sorry. Just letting you know, it's going to be so great. So you pre-ordered your hardcover a month ago. You guys, you're not going to be bored on this show. You're not going to be bored on the Medical Medium Cooking Show. Not today. Because I have fresh mulberries in front of me. That's right. You know how hard it is to get a fresh mulberry? We're talking about if you're lucky, if you go into some posh area of the country and you into some farmer's market, and you're lucky if you'll find a small pack of fresh mulberries. It is almost impossible to get fresh mulberries unless you grow them yourselves. And I got the dried mulberries here too, but I got the fresh mulberries right there. Take a look, and you can even, do a little view on it right there. Yeah, I mean, pretty amazing. This is an exciting, this might be one of my favorite all-time lives. That's right, we are live as well. I just have to mention that too. This is not pre-recorded. No. Anything could go wrong, anything could happen. But these mulberries right here are the fresh ones right in my hand. These are fresh black mulberries. I can't wait to talk all about it and stuff, so you guys are gonna be pumped. You're gonna be pumped. I know I am, big time. So, all right, so make sure you get your pre-order in on Life-Changing Foods Expanded. Now, here's another thing I need to say. I just got to get this stuff out of the way for a bit before we go on to skin and before we go on to nails and before we go on to chronic illness and everything. Just one thing very important to know that I'm seeing it lately on Soch. And what I'm seeing is, here's the Life-Changing Foods Expanded, and then someone goes, I already bought that one years ago. I already have it, great and all. No, you don't. You don't have it. You have to understand. This is double LCF. double the old LCF. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing on social. It's like, hey, well, someone's like, well, what are you talking about? Oh, here's the Life-Changing Foods Expanded. I already have that one. No, you don't. It's double. It's a book on top of a book. It's going to be like, it's huge. It is close to 600 pages. It is the expanded, I mean, the additional recipes alone, never mind the information. I'm just saying you don't have this. Tell people they don't have it. You see them on social media, be like, oh, no, thanks. No, thanks. I already have it. No, you don't. It's double. I'm telling you, this has got to be cleared up so people know and they have the healing tool in their hands. It's not the old LCF. So that's really important to know right there. That was the announcement I wanted to make, along with the fact on Amazon.com right now, US. You'll see it shows paperback and hardcover. The paperback's fraud. So what happens is Amazon allows people to like hack into, I guess, get into the pages and then put a book that's not even real. So keep that in mind. It's happened over the last decade where hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of fraudulent medical medium books have been on Amazon, been selling for years, and they're all fraud books. I've talked about this. I've asked family and friends to make a comment like on these fraudulent books to say it's not the real one. This isn't the real medical medium book. This isn't the real medical medium book page, like all of it. So I'm giving you guys the forewarning. You might have purchased a lot of fraudulent books over the years because Amazon's loaded with them. That's just the way they do it. They allow it. I don't know why or how. But anyway, the point is make sure you get the hardcover. That's the point, hardcover. All right, let's get into it. Let's move into it. I got a little lemon balm tea right now. Apparently today I need it. So good. I know there's so much evil out there. It's insane. Unethical? Yeah, I would say that. Crispy perspective, definitely would say that. All right, so let's get down to what we're doing. We're doing this incredible cereal. I love this fruit cereal we're going to do. And what you see in front of me right now, you see gold kiwis. The sweeter gold kiwis, the sweet ones. Okay, think about that right there. And then we got the nectarines, we got the peaches, we got those fresh peaches and nectarines. Almost impossible to get it this time of year, depending on where you are on the planet. I just think that was God-given, to be honest. And then we got some bananas right there because we're going to be making banana milk, the medical medium banana milk, which I'm excited about. And what you see right here are not wild blueberries. You're looking at regular clamshell pint, the pint clamshell blueberries. I have these so that the cereal, for aesthetic, because I don't want the cereal to get all like stained by all those heavy duty wild blueberry antioxidants, because it's a whole different monkey and it ruins the look of the cereal. Oh, it's pretty funny, isn't it? So I'm using the regular clamshell, blueberry that doesn't have that much nutrition, but that's okay because guess what? We're using the wild blueberry and that's a different story. So there they are right there. We're not the wild blueberry, the mulberry, which is actually a wild food, and people don't realize that. It is a wild food. It is in Life-Changing Foods, new edition, expanded. These are the mulberries right there. Have you ever tried them? And then I have raspberries. Raspberries are wonderful, wonderful berries. They are definitely more powerful and more healing than your clamshell blueberry. But either way, this is going to be an incredible, tasty fruit cereal, and it's going to have the banana milk, and it's a mulberry fruit cereal. So here we are. We're going to start making this. So let's talk about the mulberry tree just a little bit. It's one of the most historic of all fruit trees, I really truly believe. It has a supernatural tendency to it and a supernatural gift for so many reasons. So it is so fruit bearing, it's insane. So if you ever grow your own mulberry trees, they're so fruit bearing. It's unbelievable to the degree on what I'm talking about. They pour off of the trees. Maybe you've grown a mulberry tree. Any of you guys grow mulberry trees at all? Any of you guys are growing one? Have you planted a mulberry tree? So you'll know when you planted one. I'm growing a mulberry tree right there, Smoky Mountain Paradise. It's already 20 feet tall. It's 20 feet tall. Oh my God, that's incredible. Are you getting mulberries off of there? That is amazing. Yeah, first time you're seeing fresh mulberries over there, Summer Love Light, yeah. Yep, I got a lot of mulberry trees. My dad has a lot of mulberry trees. He is a mulberry expert beyond all mulberry experts. And, you know, when I get him on the Medical Medium podcast, I'm going to have him talk about, you know, the mulberry trees and the mulberries and stuff like that. If you guys want to hear, it's going to be pretty mind blowing, really. So the mulberries are fruit bearing, very fruit bearing to say the least. And I want to talk about like their power and their God-given abilities, the mulberry tree. There's a couple of things. One is they got something called like a crisscross root. Crisscross root is unique in the mulberry, where the roots run at the surface of the ground, but not just at the surface of the ground. Your mulberry tree will send roots out so far, far more than the size of the tree. So if you have a 24 or 20 foot mulberry tree, Smoky Mountain Paradise, you said 20 footer. If you got that, the roots, you don't know it, but they're just under the soil this far. I mean, because I'm an expert in mulberry trees, that's this why you'll get this information. The roots are only this far under the ground, sometimes that far under the ground, maybe this far under the ground, and they're going out and they crisscross each other and they go out far, further than the 20 feet. So if you have a 20 footer, you're gonna get roots going out much further. And there's a reason for this, to grab and snatch any nutrients in any other place besides its spot that it's sitting in. It's unbelievable, like the nature of the mulberry tree and how powerful it is. So I hope you guys find this really interesting because it's mind-blowing to me. The taproot on the mulberry is very interesting too. It splits and it goes for mineral hauls different than other taproots. Taproot goes real deep and then it splits, and it splits to get a mineral haul. So that's what it does. You know, like people go in shopping hauls, right? They do a shopping haul. They're like, I'm just coming back. And they go like, I'm on my YouTube channel. I'm coming back from my shopping haul right now. And I got all kinds of great stuff. It's like, it is like a mineral haul instead of a YouTube shopping haul. So the taproot splits and it goes into areas where it's packed with minerals, just packed with minerals. So that's something that the mulberry tree does. So it's got roots that go outward and they spread out and they're only this far under the ground and they keep on going. And the other thing, the roots are orange. The mulberry tree root is like a crazy rhizome and the root is orange. It has a yellow color, orange color. So Smoky Mountain Paradise, if you ever stumble across it and you start digging around your mulberry tree, you're gonna see some crazy looking roots. You're gonna see the color of them as well. So it's gonna be pretty mind-blowing for you, all right? So we're on mulberries because we have something that's so cool. We got fresh mulberries in my hands right here, fresh black mulberries. We're making the mulberry cereal. We're gonna have the banana milk. It's gonna be so good. Can you see that right there, you guys? Can you take a good look at that? I'll center it. Look at that right there, okay? You're looking at, there we go. Maybe we can get another focus a little bit more. Wow, those are fresh mulberries. You guys may have not seen fresh mulberries before. You're used to dry mulberries. You're not used to fresh mulberries. There it is right there. This is a big deal. You might be able to get to some kind of like really, really wealthy farmer's market, like somewhere in like Malibu or something, and you know, where the richest people would ever live. And you might be able to, if you go to that farmer's market at a certain time of the year, you might get someone who grew them and they're selling them. But it's so rare. It's so rare. I'm just giving you an example, or somewhere else, you know, on the planet. All right, so we're making this, but we're covering some mulberry like powerhouse, like of what it has and why those minerals that are contained in there, why they're so powerful. Let's talk about the mulberry itself, what's on the mulberry. So it's gonna stay in my hand. I don't care. So right there, I got a mulberry in my hand right here. So you can take a look. There it is, all right? Now here's what's incredible, elevated biotics. You guys know about medical medium information and elevated biotics? If I can say it right. You guys know about that information at all? Like you've learned it, medical medium information, elevated biotics. So let's cut into that. That's a big deal, very important. Can I move my lemon balm tea right here? All right. Here we are again, okay? This is a big one right here, okay? So, elevated biotics, microorganisms that live on leafy greens, that live on the outside of a tomato, on the outside of an apple in an orchard, that live on a mulberry, elevated biotics, the most powerful of microorganisms. Way better than when you hear about soil-borne microorganisms, way better than any probiotic you hear out there, way better than any prebiotic you hear out there. If you're somebody that even knows or heard even what a prebiotic is or a postbiotic, mulberries, they crush that. They crush it. Elevated biotics are on stuff like kale, leafy greens out of your garden, basil out of your garden, collard greens out of your garden. That's where the elevated biotics are on. If you go to a farmer's market and if you know the farmer and you know that they're not contaminated, you can just give them a gentle rinse, bring them home. You can eat them raw, even if it's just one piece, just like one mulberry, even if it's just one piece of green, like a little bit of a piece of kale, a little bit of a piece of basil. The elevated biotics on there are very important. Now, what is an elevated biotic? Microorganisms, okay, thousands and thousands of them that are naturally on the raw leaf or the raw berry or raw fruit that is growing. That's the microorganism that doesn't die from your HCl. Very important to know. So when it comes down to this information, this is really important. Your HCl in your stomach kills off probiotics. I mean, I don't care who's probiotic out there and what they're selling, there's a good chance the HCl, even when it's diminished, is annihilating those microorganisms, those probiotics. But elevated biotics do not get killed off by your HCl. They are too strong. So when you have your leaf of kale, when you have your collard green out of your garden, when you have your parsley that's on your windowsill, when you have this, that elevated biotic that's actually on those leaves or on a mulberry on a tree will not die in your stomach. It will not get killed off by the HCl. You guys following me? So keep that in mind. It bypasses the stomach. The stomach cannot kill those microorganisms, the elevated biotic. It's impossible, virtually impossible, but the HCl kills all the different probiotics, all the different things that everybody's selling, all the different stuff they're trying to sell women, like this is what you need for your microbiome, and all that stuff just dies and gets killed off. It's 90%, 95% of it's a waste of money, all of that. But elevated biotics is free. It is free. You don't have to pay for it. You don't need to pay for it. Elevated biotics are on that parsley you just grew. They're on anything you grew on your windowsill. They're on anything that's growing on your counter, some sprouts. Keep that in mind. Have your window open sometime so you can let stuff in to land on there, because microorganisms are floating in the air. They're everywhere. They're on the ground. They're on the grass. But those microorganisms are the ones that actually, guess what, build your B12, bring your B12 back. People can't produce their own B12 anymore. Those days are gone, 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 gone. If you just got on here, we're talking about life-changing foods, and we're going in deep into mulberries, and we're going deep into gut health. That's where we are. I'll skip, there it is, expanded edition. If you think you have LCF, you don't. I'm seeing it now on Soch. I'm seeing people being like, oh, no, thanks, I already got that one. I bought it 10 years ago. It's like, no, it's the expanded edition. It's a book on top of a book. Keep that in mind. Do not buy the paperback. Do not. It's a fraudulent book out there that somehow got onto the feeds. My publisher is dealing with it. But you get the hardcover, order the hardcover. Make sure you order the hardcover, okay? So we're deep in the talk right now of gut health. People cannot produce their own B12 anymore. Their guts are a mess. It's very hard because your B12 is produced right there. Right there. There it is. That's where your B12 is made. That's right. It's made in the ileum right there. Ileocecal. Ileocecal, am I saying that right? The ileocecal, the valve, it's made there. And guess what the elevated biotics do? They go there. So if you have a mulberry that you grew yourself and you got a mulberry and you ate it, there it goes down the hatch. The microorganisms on that fresh mulberry are going to go all the way through there, bypass the HCl. They're going to bypass any of the bile that's being dispersed. They're going to bypass it all. They're going to get down in here and they're going to get to the ileum right there, ileocecal valve, and they're going to plant themselves, and then you're going to produce your own B12. That's what you're going to do. You're going to restore your B12 production. And guess what happens when you restore your B12 production? You get healthier and healthier and healthier. And guess what? Mulberries make you healthier. Even the dried ones offer some stuff. The microorganisms, not really on the dried mulberries. They're not there. It depends on the process, but you get nutrients from, other ways on dried mulberries, of course, but not the elevated biotics. We're talking about fresh. We're talking about on the mulberries. And when you restore your elevated biotics, and look, you can get those elevated biotics at growing your own kale. You can get your elevated biotics by picking one thing out of the garden. Maybe there's a wild food you can eat. Maybe it's a little piece of plantain and you're in North America and there's a little bit left. Maybe there's a dandelion green that's not in a park that was pissed on or sprayed from a park, from park chemicals or whatever it is that they spray everywhere in parks. Maybe there's a leaf in your yard of plantain, a leaf of dandelion. Maybe you have a burdock root growing somewhere. Okay, but either way, those microorganisms, very important to know. The burdock root's different. You got to pull it out of the ground. Those microorganisms are on it. These elevated biotics are on the outside of the leaves, so it would have to be something like dandelion greens, not the dandelion root, but dandelion greens. But either way, you get those elevated biotics in you. Mulberries, some of the most prolific, powerful ones, the elevated biotics, and you get those in you and they go to the ileum right there. You see, right in that valve, you see right there, right in that valve, they get in there and then they produce B12. That's your B12 production right there. People are supposed to be able to make their own B12. Because we don't make our own B12 anymore, it's critical to have a good B12. And you guys know what my favorite B12 is. You guys already know it's the Vimergy B12, right? And you guys know I endorse those guys, but that's the best B12 there is on the market anywhere. And that one right there is because people need it. They have damaged nerves. People need it for their nervous system. People need it because they don't produce their own B12. But you can learn you can get your body to learn how to produce B12 again. So you don't do something like B12 shots. And I talked about that the other day. B12 shots make you allergic to B12 because it's a shot. It's an injection. I'm not talking about intravenous. I'm talking about a shot. You know what I mean? Like with a needle on it. Psh, anything going in like that, any kind of shot going in like that can make you allergic because you could build an antibody to what's going in you. So if you've had too many B12 shots, you then could get allergic to the B12. That's really sad because you don't want an antibody built to get allergic to actually attack B12 going in your body. So I never recommend getting B12 shots. Never do. Unless your doctor wants you to do it, do what your doctor tells you, the whole bit, go see your doctor. But I'm saying, I tell family and friends, never do that. So I want to go into this a little bit more. We're talking about elevated biotics. We're on mulberries. We're talking about mulberry fruit cereal we're going to make. And let's read a comment right here. If I was given $1 for each probiotic that I didn't help my digestive issues, I would be a millionaire. Medical medium information helped after decades of looking for answers. Augustina, that is very profound, that information, that comment, and your experience in life. And you become an expert. You're learning to become an expert about your gut, about your health, and that's the key. You guys, expanded edition right there. Don't wait. Pre-order it. Pre-order the hard copy. I have to say that now because of this fraudulent, paperback that is kicking around right now. Some devious, evil person is trying to get people to buy a 181-page paperback that God knows what's in there because they don't have the manuscript. Anyway, so right here, there it is right there. There is the Life-Changing Foods. Go to Amazon.com, get the hardcover, order it now because it won't be in stock once it's out. Because that's how medical medium books are. They're not in stock and everybody screams at me, and as much as I love everybody, I don't love being screamed at when they're like, I can't get one, I can't get one. And I just say to myself, yeah, well, I told you, you got to pre-order it, all right? What do I care? You pre-order it now, right, in a way, or you get it afterwards. The reason why I care is there's a chance you're going to have to wait. All right. We're talking about elevated biotics. We're talking about serious gut health stuff. And when you get the elevated biotics in you, free elevated biotics. You guys hear what I'm saying? Free. I'm giving you information. I can make a probiotic. I could call it whatever probiotic. I could go and do that. You don't think I can go and just make a probiotic and sell the world a probiotic? I mean, medical medium, so many people out there do medical medium. There's groups of people doing them. There's around the world, there's people around. You don't think I can't sell a probiotic? I won't do that because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They're mostly bullshit. The elevated biotic is free. Grow your own parsley out of a planter and eat that parsley just like that, raw like that, okay? Eat a piece raw like that. Don't cook it. Don't cook it. I'm not saying you have to be on a raw food diet. I'm just saying just eat that leaf raw. Grow a little kale in the spring. Eat that kale raw, okay? At the store, at the grocery store, it's questionable. Contamination, you got to wash that stuff at the grocery store. So don't get me wrong on this whole thing. Don't get thrown off in the way where now you're at the grocery store buying kale and eating it. You don't know what dripped on it. You got to wash your greens. You got to make sure you put, and I'll do a washing show. I'll work on that at some point, but you got to wash your greens. And you're going to eventually just wash off those elevated biotics if they still are even on there in the grocery store. I'm talking about growing your own stuff. And we're on mulberries today. Mulberries take elevated biotics to an insane level. So you're building your own B12 again, back in your ileum, the production back in your ileum right here. Where is it? Right there. You're building that back. Do you know what I'm talking about? And that's incredible, and that's with the black mulberries or any kind of fresh mulberry. So that's where we are right now, and what you see right here are fresh mulberries. So let's go into some other stuff too. Electrolytes. Mulberries have real intense electrolyte profiles, potassium-based. Real high potassium-based electrolyte profiles. Very important. Manganese, all these other different trace minerals are in the mulberry, and so it's a whole nother level of electrolyte, but it's potassium. That's the key mineral in those. The key mineral, the nucleus, which then the other minerals, because, it's funny because the mulberry has so many trace minerals. It's 100 trace, but you can't even list them all. So, but the nucleus is the potassium, and that's the nucleus of everything when it works in mulberries like that. So that's important to know too. Key foundational mineral. Black mulberries are the most potent and beneficial. All mulberries, including white and pink, still have their own healing properties. When we sit at the round table later, I'll give you some tips if you're going to grow a mulberry tree and so forth. It's going to be pretty cool. We'll talk about some other stuff too. So we are on the mulberries right now. We're talking about gut health. And the key factor with these mulberries, antioxidants, like you can't even imagine, undiscovered antioxidants. You think some lab is going to sit there and be like, okay, let's go get an investor to invest $1 million, $5 million, $10 million so we can study a mulberry, so we can tell people to grow their own mulberries. You think they're going to do that? That's how the world works. It's about corruption. It's about stuff like that. It's about trickery. No one's going to say, okay, let's take $10 million or $50 million. Let's get into a lab. Let's get a bunch of honest lab technicians, and scientists. Let's study the mulberry. Let's teach people how to plant mulberry trees so they can get their life back and get their health back. Let's do that. No, they're not. Because nobody's going to make money off of it. That's why. They're not. So it's not going to happen. But the undiscovered antioxidant profile is incredible, and that's in the mulberries. I call them wild because mulberries are wild. Even if you go to a store like a nursery and you buy yourself a mulberry tree, a sapling, or you buy yourself a small mulberry tree, it is still wild. It is. They can't break that wild integrity down in the mulberry tree. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this, all right? So the properties are in those mulberries, and it is loaded. So we can go A to Z on how loaded they are. 100 plus more trace minerals, macro minerals like the key potassium mineral, antioxidants, phytochemical compounds, microorganisms, and get ready for this, tiny microbes, tiny healthy insects, tiny ones you can't see, microscopic insects are on the mulberry when you grow one and you eat it fresh. Microscopic insects that you can't see, or if you're lucky, barely see. You might be able to see one if you got a good eye. You can see, if you got a really good eye, you can see one, okay? And those microscopic, if I'm saying that right, insects are also filled with tremendous amounts of nutrition. These aren't just like you go and eat a grasshopper. It's not like that. I'm not talking about that. You go and eat a cricket. I'm not talking about that. You know how people eat insects and stuff like that? They eat a lot of insects. Insect eating is big. It's happening all over the world. Ugh. You know, and all the different larvae, worms and everything. Ugh, right? Insects. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about microscopic, though, that are on there. You can't even see. And that's a different story, different level that's on the fresh mulberry. I'm cutting into as much information as I can. Mulberries, they were historically all over the country, in New York, and then they chopped them all down. Because people, by the 1950s and 60s, people didn't want to see mulberry stains on their cars. They didn't want to see mulberry stains on their Art Deco. They didn't want to see mulberry stains on their driveways. People didn't want to see mulberry stains on the sidewalks anymore. People didn't want to see mulberry stains on the roof and on the porches. Nobody wanted to see mulberry stains anymore. They chopped all the mulberry trees down. So just so you know, Mulberry Avenue, Mulberry Lane, Mulberry Avenue over there in New York, right? Mulberry Street. You know, Mulberry Street used to have mulberries, but as they were building the buildings and changing course in time in history in the 1800s, the 1900s, they chopped all the massive mulberry on Mulberry Street trees down. This is what they've done, and this is what they still do because people don't like it. It's messy because it's that antioxidant, that anthocyanin, that pigment, everything. So people kill mulberry trees, ancient ones. So we've lost a lot of our ancient mulberry trees that are heirloom, right? That go back all the way. We've lost all those. So yeah, Lessa says, I loved eating and playing on the mulberry tree. They had a pear tree that was cut too. Whoa, that's good to know. We have mulberry trees at Hart Park, Jessica said. Wow. And do they ripen? Is it a white mulberry, a pink mulberry? Is it a black mulberry? That's interesting. It's amazing somebody didn't cut it down in a park. There's a mulberry tree down at the creek near me. Ingy, there is? Whoa, that's pretty cool. Down by the creek, there's one? That's amazing. So they're there, they're out there. See, this is great. How big is the mulberry tree? Is it tall? Is it a baby? That is so cool. Information that's so neat, okay? You guys, just reading some comments before we get into it. All right, let's work on making something. Let's do that. Let's have a little bit of fun, okay? And we can talk mulberries all day long. Mulberries. We can go crazy on mulberries, crazy on them. People freak out about their skin. They got acne problems, they got skin problems, they got eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, rosacea. People freak out. They got vitiligo. People just don't like skin spots. They don't like, they don't like pigment problems. They don't like dark spots, sunspots. You can call them what you want. People don't like it on their skin. That's why people are at the dermatologist every single day and they're getting skin work on their face done every single day. And people just, they don't want, never mind a wrinkle, they don't want a wrinkle, but they don't want anything else, And just so you know, as far as I go, if because someone said, well, his skin looks good, he must be doing something. I've never done any skin treatment. I've never done a facial in my life. I've never had a facial in my life. I know the podcast doctors get facials all the time. I never had a facial. I never had I don't really wash my face as much as I probably should. And I don't do any facial treatments of any kind. And I don't have a cosmetic surgeon. And I don't have a cosmetologist, or whatever you call it. I don't even have a dermatologist working on my face. So basically, we're talking about, and I've eaten some mulberries in my day. I've eaten some mulberries, just letting you know. Like, I've eaten a lot of mulberries, you know, just letting you guys know. So I'll say it over and over again in hopes that someday you eat mulberries too, instead of doing anything like this. I don't have any filler in my face. Although, you know, should I get some on in my lips or something and get some filler in my lips? No, I shouldn't. But I'm not saying you can't, and I'm not saying it's bad that you did or good or what. I'm not judging you on if you got filler. I don't think it's a great idea. I've talked about that for years. But either way, I don't have any myself. So I'm just letting you know. But the guys are doing it now. They're getting filler all in their faces. They want to look more masculine. Guys are getting filler to make themselves look more masculine. Podcast doctors are getting filler to try to spread wrinkles, meaning they're trying to spread the wrinkle so the wrinkle goes away, so they get filler in their face to spread out the wrinkle. You know, that's what they're doing, all the podcast doctors that are in their 30s and 40s right now. I'm not in my 30s. I wish I was in my 30s. That would actually be pretty amazing. I'm not in my 30s. So anyway, the bottom line is, though, a lot of guys, influencers in their 30s, they're hitting their late 30s. They're all wrinkled up from caffeine. Caffeine has wrinkled the crap out of their faces. And so what they're doing is they're getting filler to spread the wrinkle. We're talking about skin a little bit because I'm talking about mulberries and this mulberry, you know, incredible food we're going to make, and this tasty cereal we're going to make that's good for the skin, good for the nails and hair. And, you know, so it's important to know you get tricked. You know, it's not just photography tricks, but on social, but you get, and just, you know, Instagram's not kind to me. I'm letting you know. They don't give me any ability to smoke screen anything. I'm letting you know. Instagram don't let me, these social media platforms don't let me smoke screen a thing. It's almost like somebody in the platforms are like, no way, we're not even going to give him the option. It's been like that for years. And it's been really annoying, but whatever. But the bottom line is, though, what influencer males are doing is they're spreading the wrinkles through lots of filler, and they're trying to make themselves look more masculine with lots of filler. They need to be eating mulberries. They need to be, you know, learning how to eat fresh mulberries by growing their own tree. They need to be eating wild blueberries. They need to be getting elevated biotics in them. They need to be doing all these things, getting those anthocyanins in there to kill radical toxins. So let's talk about that a little bit. Mulberries. Mulberries neutralize free radicals. Break them down. Mulberries neutralize the toxins that are in our bodies, the poisons in our bodies. Am I yelling? Am I loud? Mulberries, they actually break down those toxins. They neutralize them. They do. They neutralize them, and they break them down. That's what mulberries do. Skin falls apart on people. Toxins get caught in the skin, and their skin starts to fall apart. Caffeine, you know, wreaks havoc on their adrenals. Adrenaline from the caffeine from chocolate, you know, gets into the skin. Caffeine itself gets into the skin too. Caffeine, nicotine. What about the nicotine crap coming back? Is that insanity? That is insanity. We'll talk about that at the round table. Mulberries neutralize the poisons and the toxins and the free radicals, and it breaks them down, and it makes them harmless. Harmless. It renders them unharmful. That's what mulberries do. Eating mulberries can restore skin, hair, and nails, and then get into the deeper accomplishments. We're talking not just skin, deeper accomplishments, deep into the endocrine glands, all of it, deep into the collagen, deep into creating collagen, connective tissue, deep into connective tissue. Very important. Mulberry gets deeper into reversing connective tissue diseases that hold your face on. that help to hold your face together. Connective tissue holds your face together. That's what it does. Like people, what's happening in their life is they're losing their connective tissue because they don't have all these different, tools and understanding, like the medical medium spinach soup, which is so good for people, and the medical medium herbs as a leafy green, like the cilantro, the HMDS. People don't have these things in them, and their face just starts to fall off their head. That's what happens. It loosens up and it falls off. And so, look, that's why the women are running to get the fox eyes and they're running to get the facelifts. Because especially if they're, if they got money to do it, especially if they're in some kind of like wealthy upper class suburb of some kind, they're all running to get their faces done when they get into their late 30s and early 40s. And I'm not shaming them. That's not it. It's just a life of caffeine and chocolate and decadence, along with eating keto and whatever else they're doing, doesn't cut it. Along with it, just doesn't cut it. You can exercise all you want, your face will still fall off. There's guys out there in the industry, like influencers, and guys that are in the health industry, right? Their bodies are sculpted, they're taking steroids, their bodies are sculpted, they're totally on steroids, they're juicing up, but their faces are falling off. And they have to go and they got to get filler and they got to get all that stuff. Their freaking faces are falling off of them. That's what's happening to men in the health movement every day right now. And I see this. And it's like, dude, where's all your anthocyanins? Oh, that's right. You traded that off for some carnivore diet. You traded it off for some keto diet. You traded off for the old Atkins diet that still became the carnivore diet, that still became whatever the keto diet. You traded it off for a bad vegan diet too. You traded it off for a bad high-fat vegan diet, terrible high-fat vegan diets with all the cakes and cookies and all that stuff, but the bad ones, with all the fat. So you traded it off for all that. Mulberries can strengthen eyesight and also help with building muscle. If you're looking at my big old muscles, I don't have 2 hours in the gym that I can do right now 4 times a week. I don't have the time. So you know what I mean? So I hop on a bicycle when I can. I take a run when I can. But right now I got to focus on taking care of work, taking care of business to make sure you guys get free and all the good stuff. And maybe someday I'll quit working. I'll quit working and I'll become a gym guy. Okay? But right now, that's not what I got to do. Mulberries are anti-pathogenic towards all pathogens. And mulberries have a very high glucose content. They're anti-pathogenic. What does that mean? Anti-pathogens, right there. The bugs, the viruses, the bacteria, anti-pathogen, which is a big deal. Mulberries are doing that too. All right, so let's start making some food, you guys. Are we having a good time or what? You never know what direction I'm going to head to. You just don't know. My apologies. I hope I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. It's no shame, no judgment. Just talking about the industry, the health industry. Talking about like influencers, what they're doing right now. I mean, the dude influencers get so much facial work done and teeth work done. It's unbelievable. But I get it. It fools people. So people be like, oh, that guy looks good. Better buy his shit. Better buy his mushroom coffee. You know what I mean? Like, it's just as how it's done. It's the industry. All right. Enough fun. Okay, you guys, let's talk about making this, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the peaches and some nectarine. I'm going to put a little peach and nectarine. And the banana milk is going to, I'm going to do the banana milk last, because I don't want it sitting. I want it to actually be fresh. Is that okay? So let me get a bowl out. I'm going to make 2 of these. I'm going to make one with the fresh mulberry, one with the dried mulberry, which is still great. Got the dried, let me show you the dried mulberries right here. I mean, you could get these at the grocery store. You can get dried mulberries. They're out there. You get organic dried mulberries. They're out there. You can find them, okay? Am I moving this around too much? There you go. Can you guys get some focus? Right there. Look at that. That's the dried mulberry. If you just walked in, you walked into the Medical Medium Cooking Show. We're on Mulberry Fruit Cereal. We're talking about life-changing foods, new edition. Make sure you order it. The hard copy. That's the one you want. Yeah, don't do the paperback. There's a fake paperback out there. All right. Here we are. Let's start with some peaches. let's go with that first, okay? Now I'm gonna cut these peaches up right here. Let's take a little look. So I'm gonna do some nice little peach cuts. This is a fresh peach right now. I have to tell you, that is definitely pretty crazy. I talked about it yesterday. Did you guys know that I was talking about this yesterday? So here's some peaches, right, fresh peach right here. So I'm gonna slice it. Now I wanna have a look to this, is what I wanna do. I want the peaches to have a special little look. I'm not gonna make them too small. There we go. Okay, that's what I'm looking at there. I'm gonna mix all this together too. Keep that in mind. Let's get some more peaches in here. You could do 1 to 2 peaches. I'm making kind of a smaller version. Each one, maybe I'll add a little bit more just because it looks better too, instead of a really tiny one. But let's get working on some more peaches here. 2 peaches, and I'm gonna do 1 nectarine if you guys don't mind. And look, I didn't even really cut all that peach off of that down to the pit. Remember yesterday we were talking about that? How do you like that right there? Has that got a look to it? It's, the pieces are a little bit where they're not super small. You want to know what they are. That's kind of like the vibe here. You know, I got company over, so what's going to happen is I want it to look a certain way. I don't want to turn it into some kind of mushy thing or whatever. All right, look, let's do a nectarine. That's a really nice nectarine. This nectarine is so juicy, by the way. Look at that. It's a white nectarine. Yeah. Look, use frozen peaches. You want to use frozen peaches? Be my guest. Use frozen peaches. Look at that right there, okay? I don't want them too big. I don't want to have to use a fork. This is a cereal. I don't want to have to use a fork, you know? You got to use a fork like it's a fruit salad. I'm not trying to make a fruit salad. Kind of let you guys know, this is the vibe on this one. It is a bowl of cereal. You can use a spoon. You can enjoy it. But yet I don't want them so small. All right? I don't want them so small, the pieces there. And I think what I'm going to do now is hit the kiwis. Let's go. Gold kiwis. Right there, gold kiwis, nice. Look at those, okay? Now, I'm gonna skin this kiwi. Are you okay with that? I'm gonna give it a little bit of a skinning, like this. Take the skin off the kiwi, okay? Look at this, a juicy gold kiwi. Are you guys into kiwis? I mean, that's a great fruit snack, just kiwis alone. It's a wonderful, wonderful just fruit snack. It really is. It's so delicious. So delicious. We got lots to talk about still, okay? Just bear with me. There's a kiwi. I'm going to do 2 kiwis. Let's chop this up a little bit. Here we go. Look at that. Nice kiwi here. I'm going to do this kind of action. Let's go right here. We'll do this. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see? There you go. Look at that. Right in there. Look at that. I'm going to do another one. It has such a great look to it. Oh, the smell of a good kiwi. So good. I'm going to kind of take the little crown out. You don't need to. I mean, you don't have to, but I'm doing that one that way. And now I'm just going to cut the butt off there. There we go. Okay. There you go. We're doing a little peeling action here, skinning action, however you want to call it. I think peeling is the correct term. We're making the mulberry fruit cereal. If you guys just got here, I have fresh mulberries, which is mind-blowing. Fresh mulberries. You think you can find them? Go and get them. Go look for them. You're gonna have to use the dried. Okay? All right. Got my garbage can right there. All right, let's go. I'm gonna cut these. We got 2 nice, beautiful gold kiwis. Here you go. Okay? There we go. We got those in there. All right, let's hit the berries a little bit. Let's go into that. We're making 2. So we'll get some raspberries in here too. I'm not gonna cut the raspberries, I'm gonna leave them whole. That's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna leave these whole. Take a look here, okay? We're gonna leave these. Come on, there you are. All right. I think I'm gonna put about a pint in here, just for looks. It just looks beautiful. They're yummy too. Now I'm going to add the clamshell I call the clamshell the pint size blueberry. I'm gonna add some of these in here. It's not my favorite blueberry. It's good for you. Don't get me wrong. It's an organic blueberry. They are good for you, okay? I'm popping those in here. So keep that in mind. They are good for you. I'm just not a fan. I like the wild blueberry. All right, got the raspberries in there. How's that looking so far, you guys? You see this? How does that look? Take a good look right there. Let's get a close-up. Let's go. All right, there we are. Try to get it in focus. Okay, you ready? Okay. All right. All right, I'm trying to work with it. You ready? One more time. Take a look at that one there. All right, all right. All right. All righty. Okay, now we got the choice. Do I use the fresh mulberry first, or do I use the dried mulberry first? I think I'll go with the fresh mulberry first. Let's get those in there, and here we are. Okay, we're popping some of these fresh ones in right now. There we go. There we are. Okay, we got some fresh mulberries. I'm going to put a few more in here. Can't help it. These are so good. You guys, I want to eat one right now, but I know that I'll have a purple mouth, and I don't really want a purple mouth just right now in this very second. So let's put a few more. I'll have a purple mouth later if you don't mind. All right, look at that. That is insane. Okay, so I'm going to do a little mix. Let's do a little mix. I don't want to use a spoon because I don't want to just, you know, make a big mess. So let me just kind of see if I can mix this up a little bit. Are you guys watching? Yep. There's stems on the mulberries. Can you believe that? There's stems on there. All right. Let me grab a spoon. Let's go under here and we'll do like a very light mix. Okay, there we go. Put a couple more on top. A couple more black mulberries right here. They're fresh. This is a special occasion. To have these right now is just a miracle, a blessing. Okay. Let's make the milk. Come on. It's not dairy either. Not going to be dairy milk. All right. This might be all we need to make. All right, so let's go. Okay. Let's get some frozen bananas out the freezer. Bear with me, please. Frozen bananas. Let's go. Take a look at this. Frozen bananas all set and ready to go. Look at that, okay? All right, one fresh banana. Boom, right there. One fresh banana. That's a good banana. Really is. One fresh banana. All right. One frozen banana. I know everybody says, you know, monkeys, how do they eat bananas, right? Monkeys eat bananas from the bottom, and people talk about that. And every now and then somebody be like, I eat a banana, I eat them from the bottom. I don't crack them from the top because monkeys eat them from the bottom. But you got to understand something. You know, humans are smart, and humans found a way to eat the banana in a much easier way, convenient way, which is cracking the top, okay? Now, we're not monkeys, so, you know, you don't want to do it that way. Now, what monkeys do is, you know, I know I'm supposed to be making this right now. I can't help it, you guys. I know monkeys eat bananas like this, okay? That I know. What they do is they squeeze the banana, and the banana is really ripe when the monkey has them, but they squeeze the banana is what they do. And they squeeze them on down so the banana pops out of here. So they might break that bottom too, but they squeeze them down, they squeeze them out. That's what monkeys do. Monkeys do this, I've seen it, and they end up eating a lot of the skin too. So monkeys eat the skin with part of the banana too. They squeeze them out, you know? and they'll just bite the bottom here, and then they'll squeeze them out is what they normally do, like that. Now, if you want to go and eat your bananas like that, I will just say you're welcome to it, okay? If you want skin and stuff like that from your banana, make sure you go and do that too, where you're like biting the banana and the skin. If you want to sit there and squeeze the crap out of your banana, because that's the only way the monkey can do it, the monkey doesn't know how to do it the way we do it. Do you understand? I'm kind of like, I got kind of tired of 30 years, maybe more now, 40 years of some biologist somewhere, some animal biologist somewhere that was like, no, monkeys eat it from the bottom, humans eat it wrong. They don't eat it wrong, I'm telling you. Humans don't eat the damn banana wrong. You don't eat it wrong. You want to try to open the bottom? You want to try to squeeze the banana out like the monkey has to? Go ahead and do it. Be my guest. But let me tell you how you're supposed to actually open a darn banana. You're supposed to take the banana, you're supposed to crack it, and you're supposed to peel it just like this. That's how a human is supposed to eat a banana. All right. Okay. I think I got my point across. All right. Taking this right here, I'm putting it right here, okay? There we go. And I am... I've seen monkeys eat bananas. A lot of times they struggle with it too, and they eat the skin of the banana. Not the whole skin, but most of it, many times. All right, so I got a frozen banana in here, and I got a fresh banana. You guys see this right here? Okay. All right, so let me pop this here. Let's see what the rest of the stuff I want to put in here, which is water or coconut water. You can do a cup of coconut water or water. I love coconut water. And guess what you won't see is red coconut water. You won't see, am I sarcastic today? Is there some sarcasm going on? Is that all? Is that what's happening? Is AW back? Is AW back, the cooking show, the Medical Meme cooking show? I don't like red coconut water because it's, guess what? It's rancid. It's rancid. Back in the 2000s, I don't know if it was like 2010, 2012, 2013, 2009. I think what was happening is coconut water companies, certain coconut water companies were trying to pass off the pink coconut water, like the pink to red coconut water, as if it was good for them. They're saying that's the good stuff. Bullshit. That's the old stuff. That is the old stuff. It's gone bad. Your coconut water goes bad when it's red, when it's turning red. Make sure you get the dark pink one because you got lucky. No, it's because the coconut water companies were screwed. They purchased a ton of it. They were in barrels, tons of it. They get it red. Yep, they get it red. Or they purchased a ton of coconuts that went bad and they can't keep up with it and they're turning red. And so their coconut water's red. What a big scam that was. And I right at the start, I was on that whole thing because I want people in the medical meme community to always know what's going on, the truth about everything, because yeah, exactly. And you know, and I know coconuts really well. So I'm just saying right there, boom, all right? All right. And coconut water companies are tricky. They change shit by the month. By every 6 months. You find a good one and then they suddenly put all kinds of crap in it. And that happens all the time. So coconut water, the whole thing, the industry is really a pain in the butt. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over here. I'm going to put a cup of coconut water in there. That's a cup. Had it a little higher than a cup. Where am I going? I'm going to put this here. I'm going to stick this on the blender. All right. Let's roll. Let's get the top on here. All right. Don't want to fire that up like that. Okay, you guys. Let's blend this up. Are you guys having a good time or what? We're talking about bananas, monkeys, coconut water. Martha says, passion in Italian is back. I am Italian. I am Italian, that is true. Hope that doesn't bother anybody. I mean, right? I'm Italian. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. And that's the cereal right there, and that's the milk, the banana milk. Look at that right there. This is so good. This is in medical medium, life-changing foods, expanded edition. You have your fresh mulberries. You can do dried mulberries, that's fine. And I'm going to add the rest of the milk in there. There we go. Look at that. That's your cereal right there. And then we're going to sit at the table. We're going to chill out. I'm going to bring this over in a second. I'm going to get myself a spoon. You know, people eat with wooden spoons. They eat with all kinds of different spoons, the whole bit. You know, I'm using a steel spoon, okay? You see it right here in front of me. But the HMDS that I do all the time, the heavy metal detox, and the level of using the heavy metal detox, any kind of like metal that comes from any kind of residue that comes off a steel utensil, you're getting out of your system if you're doing the HMDS. It's not even going to be able to go anywhere besides out of your intestinal tract, just letting you know right there. But when you're eating out in restaurants, they beat the heck out of those pots and pans, man. They scrape with metal utensils. That's different. That's like metal fragments that are coming off, the scratches off the pots and pans. Entirely different story. Entirely different story. All right, so let's bring this over here. I might bring this hand towel over here too with me, okay? All right, I'm gonna bring this little hand towel over here too. I'll get a fresh one. You guys don't mind? You get a fresh one over here. There we go. Fresh one right out of here. Okay, let's get the LCF book. Sorry, I'm running around. Let's go. Might even grab some virus and bacteria because you never know. Might need to talk about that. Here we are. We got the book in front of us. Now, I want to talk to you about this book a little bit. Okay? But let me just try this first. All right, and we'll answer some questions and I'll read some comments. Wow, that's got a mulberry, that's got a kiwi, and that's got a peach on there, right there. Oh my God. What the heck? That is so good. Fat-free, overt fat-free. Okay, there's omega-3s all in this though. This thing is loaded with omega-3s. The mulberries, the fresh mulberries, are loaded with omega-3. Okay? There's omega-3 in all these fruits. Yeah, there's omega-3s in them. But it's not an overt fat. You guys know what I'm saying? This isn't a fat and sugar combination that people get diabetes with. All right? Very important to know. This isn't one of those. So this isn't like dairy milk, dairy butter, you know, whatever, dairy products, you know, fat. Go, even if you're vegan, almond butter, you know what I mean? This isn't almond milk, oat milk with oat fat, because oat milk happens to be a little bit higher in fat. This isn't like overt fat central, man. This is no overt fats. So what you do is you keep your bloodstream clean and the glucose and your insulin balanced. Your insulin pulls in the glucose into the cells. You take in all the nutrients from the mulberries. Like this is literally like such an incredible dish for somebody right here. I mean, seriously, get this book if you can. Get a pre-order so you can get it. Use this book as a reference guide. Use this book as a reference guide. You don't have this book. If you think you got it, oh my God, it was so frustrating. I laughed, but it was frustrating. People on Soch, every minute, they're like, oh, I already got that book. No, you don't. It's a book on top of a book. It's an entirely different situation. You can put the dried mulberries right on here too. I'll throw some on there. Oh my God. Raspberries, fresh mulberries. Sorry, guys. You know what happens is I get lost for a second because it's so good. I mean, I just go into like a meditation instantly, and then I forget I'm even live because it's so good. It's just like that. All right, so I want to talk about some symptoms, conditions. Are you guys suffering with any symptoms, conditions? Because The LCF book is a reference guide. It's here to actually help you with symptoms, conditions, which is really important. All right, so here we are. It says right off the running, mulberries are good for any health condition, any health condition. Keep that in mind. Mulberries are especially good for all autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune, anybody? Autoimmune? Okay. Especially for autoimmune diseases, mulberries are good for. How about that? Yeah, autoimmune. All neurological diseases, symptoms, conditions. You don't have to have a neurological disease. No, you don't. To not have a neurological symptom, you may not have been diagnosed. You may have not gotten a diagnosis of a neurological condition, right? But you may have neurological symptoms, and lots of them: migraines, tremors, tic spasms, restless leg syndrome, aches and pains in weird places, you know, tightness of the chest, tightness of the throat, anxiety, depression, all neurological. All of it neurological. All right, a small sampling of mulberries can help you with adrenal fatigue. Boom. All cancers. Yes, all cancers. Alopecia, Alzheimer's disease, ALS, anorexia, that's a good one. Asthma, bulimia, burnout, carpal tunnel syndrome, celiac disease. Very important to know, okay? Colitis, Crohn's disease, dementia, dermatitis, diabetes, dirty blood syndrome, which a lot of people have, okay? Fatty liver, Epstein-Barr virus, mononucleosis, fibromyalgia, glaucoma, Hashimoto's, thyroid problems, thyroid disorders. My God, the list goes on. I'll be here all day. So let's move on to some symptoms because the list goes on. Adrenal issues, anxiousness, bloating, blood sugar imbalances, blurry eyes, bone fractures, brain fog, burning sensations on the skin, chemical sensitivities, eye floaters, food sensitivities, frozen shoulder, hair thinning and loss, heart palpitations, hot flashes, inflammation, jaw pain, joint pain, low vision, mystery mouth pain, neck pain, pain in the back, all kinds of stuff. You can open up Life-Changing Foods anytime. You can open it up, the expanded version. You can look into it. The index can help you find symptoms, conditions. That's really cool to help you heal. You start incorporating the different foods in here. This book will not let you down. It will not disappoint you. I promise you. I am here to tell you, you will not be disappointed. You will not hate me over it. You will get the book and be like, oh my God, that guy is a great guy because the book is that good. You will not be disappointed. It's not going to be smoke blowing up somebody's ass or anything else that's out there in the health world of books. Okay, like the Eat Better books that have, like, you know, when you go through them, there's nothing in there about elevated biotics, Epstein-Barr, and everything else, the true causes of illness, the way it's done. There's nothing out there. Like, you look, you know, it's crazy, the health food books out there. We're all Eat Better books to give you basically a paleo diet and an Eat Better diet, and now carnivore diet, great, and then bone broth diet, okay? So yeah, sure, and intermittent fasting books, bone broth books, Eat Better books, keto books, paleo books. You got chronic illness, that's not going to cut it. You need real information, you just do. Check this book out. So let's get into it a little bit more. Let's talk about like emotional stuff, spiritual stuff. Let's do that in the book here. Guys, just give me another second. So freaking good. That is so good. The banana milk is insane. It's insane. It's so good. That's right out of here. I have to expand it. I got a blueberry in my teeth. Okay. Mulberries lead us to rediscovering ourselves. When you stand in front of a great mulberry tree, you stand in front of a great mulberry tree, and you see its awesome power, and you realize the roots do the crisscross root. They go on long, long, far more than how tall the tree is. You see the trunk and you see the great leaves, the mulberry leaves, okay? It humbles you. It humbles you. It truly does, okay? Then, if you're fortunate enough to taste its fruit, I am fortunate enough to taste its fruit, the mulberry can instantly take you away from the conditioned and purposely controlled world that tries to suck the light out of the human soul. You know, when Spirit of Compassion gave me that piece of information to write down, because you guys know, I've told you this before, I never went to college. I'm not a smart guy. I come from a working class family, which they're smart as hell, but it's working class smart, right? And street smart, right? But I'm not like, I didn't come from this like, you know, get this education and go to this fine college. And, you know, I've told you guys this, right? I've had instead dedicate my entire life learning from Spirit of Compassion, all this information. So I've had to become like an expert the best I can from Spirit of Compassion's information. And there's just so much, like when I look at Brain Saver and I read it, I go, oh my God, I forgot half of this. I have to learn this again. It's from Spirit of Compassion. When you know, so when I got this information about the mulberries and I put it in here, and it was like, when you stand in front of a great mulberry tree and you see this awesome power, it humbles you. Then if you're fortunate enough to taste its fruit, the mulberry can instantly take you away from the conditioned and purposely controlled world that tries to suck the light out of the human soul. When I heard that from Spirit of Compassion, I was just like, oh my God. Mulberries can transport us back to ourselves, sending shock waves into the ego. Sending shock waves into the ego. Into the ego. You know, remember in my first book, I said, you guys, I was like, you know, when I was a kid, I was getting all this information from Spirit of Compassion. I healed a neighbor. My neighbor said, I don't know how you did it. My wife was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. We went to every clinic in the world. I was in the garden and I was pulling onions, right? Carrots and stuff, and I was pulling onions. And he was standing there in my garden, and you know, I was like, that's because, you know, I'm always right. That's because I'm always right. And he's like, well, I don't know what else it could be, because she's walking. Nobody knew she had, you know, arsenic in the well and toxic heavy metals and all this other stuff. Nobody knew what she needed. Every doctor took blood work, but you knew. And then I was walking along and I stepped on, you know, a rake and one of those hose, those rakes, and it flipped back in my face and knocked me clean out. And I was just out cold in my garden, like out cold in my garden. And as I started coming to, I saw my neighbor. He was standing above me and he was looking at me. And I saw him and I started waking up, and Spirit of Compassion said, never forget this, you know. I'm always right. Not you, not you. And you know, it was in that way. You can read the exact wording, but it was definitely an eye opener for me, because I felt like, phew, man, it's hot to trot. You know, my teens and my late teens, and given this gift, and then, you know, that happening, you know, and I've learned. All right. Plus, I've had plenty to humble me in my life. People have no idea. More so in my life. I've plenty that humbled me. Plenty. I mean, yeah. And someday I'll talk about it all, one way or another. If you prune, here's a spiritual lesson right here. If you prune a mulberry tree vigorously, you will watch it bounce back like no other tree, man. You watch it bounce back Spiritual lesson, okay? New growth will be exploding. A mulberry's life force is not equally matched in the tree world. You hear that? How crazy is that? Sometimes a person has the feeling that the carpet has been pulled out from under them, or that their legs have been knocked out from under them. Chronic illness does that. Chronic illness does that. Or that they've been cut down to size and told to stay in their place. And that a lot of people have tried to do that to me because of healing too many people. You heal too many people. The industries want to cut my legs out from underneath me. They want to chop me down. They do. And I have had to battle battles people just have no idea. When this happens, we can reach for the spiritual teaching of the mulberry. The spiritual teaching of the mulberry. We need to see ourselves like the mulberry tree, where we tap into its resilience, vibrancy, and we bounce back stronger than we were before. I want to go over a couple of mulberry tips too. If you guys want to do this, this is such a great day. Such a great live. I forgot I'm live. Best time to pick a mulberry is when it is its darkest color. That includes a white mulberry. A white mulberry will get a cream color to it once it starts to ripen. I know I got white mulberry trees. And there's also the in-between, a white mulberry that's pink. It's pink. Darkest color it gets is pink. You want to wait till it's at its pinkest. Or if it's a black mulberry, you want to wait until it's at its darkest color, if you can. So cool. It'll be less tart and more sweeter. The mulberry's juiciness depends on how much water the tree is getting. If there is less rain or a drought, your mulberries will be drier, internally drier. They won't be as juicy. It's a really cool tip all on its own. If you have the ability to water your mulberry tree on a regular basis, do so. Your mulberries will be unspeakably delicious. Incredibly, tantalizingly delicious. If you don't grow your own mulberry tree, then someday you may be lucky to find fresh mulberries at a farmer's market. Like I told you right now, every now and then, maybe a posh farmer's market might have one. A posh farmer's market, I call it posh because it's in like the greatest zip code on the planet or something. But you may be able to find them, in any zip code at some point. Yep. Let's see. Be cautious when eating dried mulberries. Sometimes there's a little sand in there. I think there's a couple of comments here I'd like to read. One right here. I'm reading out of here, you guys. First of all, I'm reading out of this new edition, expanded edition. Now, if you guys on Instagram, we're streaming right now to a few different platforms, just letting you know. Okay, we're on YouTube right now. We're on Rumble. But you guys on IG, okay? I noticed you guys are like, I got the book already. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have the book. You don't have the book. You don't. And don't buy the paperback. It's a fraudulent book. Do not buy the paperback. Buy the hardcover. Go to Amazon.com and buy the hardcover. Go to Barnes and buy the hardcover. All right. Give this video a thumbs up. We're still live. Okay. Be cautious when eating dried mulberries. I just want to tell you right now, if you got teeth issues and stuff like that, it's not because they're chewy. That's not it at all. On the dried mulberry front, there is sand in there sometimes. I mean, crap. I mean, I've eaten dried mulberries right out of packages, and all of a sudden, crunch. And it's like some sand that's a little bigger than just like light sand. And you're just like, boom, your teeth feel it. So just be cautious when you're doing the dried mulberries. Bite them carefully. Don't just, don't like, If your mulberry tree has grown too high and you can't reach the berries anymore, get a ladder and cut the top off. Cut the top off. and let the limbs go on the sides. A trick my dad has done with his mulberry trees for a lifetime. Also, you can get an orchard ladder and just climb up and pick them when they're up higher. Just be careful. If your mulberry tree, if too many mulberries are left on your tree unpicked and they become overripe, fruit flies tend to land on those berries and lay little tiny fruit larvae. So try to pick them when you can. All right. Do not use tape or fly traps. Whatever you do around your mulberry trees, you will catch a poor bird or a poor bat. One thing I can't stand in the orchards, this is kind of terrifying, but I'm not talking about mulberry orchards in general. I'm talking about any kind of orchard. I'm talking about apple orchards, pear orchards, fruit orchards. What the orchardists do, including the organic orchardists, what the orchardists do, the farms do, is they hang up fly traps for the apple fly, for fruit flies and so forth. It's terrifying. Birds get stuck on it. You can't get the bird off. There's no way a bird can even get the wing off. You can't pull the bird off. It'll die. You have to just kill the bird. And all these birds hit the fly traps. They hit all the fly traps in all the orchards. It's the one thing that someday that has to turn around. You know what I mean? You hear all these different battles out there. You hear all these things, hills that people are dying on. You hear in the news and all the political movements and everything else. You hear all this stuff people are trying to correct or do. That's one thing that needs to be corrected someday. If you have an overabundance of mulberries and you can't eat them all, they freeze very well. You can later defrost them and eat them anytime you like. When you pick a mulberry, a tiny green stem will be attached to it. Hence, there's one right here. I know you can't see it at the round table, but there's one right there. You're welcome to eat the mulberry with that stem, as I just did myself, which will provide more nutrients than the mulberry by itself. Or you can hold the stem, bite the mulberry off, and toss out the stem. Or you can try to pull the stem off the mulberry before eating. You can do whatever you want. But I can't wait for you to try one. All right, so we just made the mulberry fruit cereal. I am so pumped with the banana milk. It's fat-free, overt fat-free. You know what happens when you're fat-free? Even in the morning, you heal. You start healing. Did you know that? Did you know that? When you're fat-free, over fat-free, and you start learning how to do medical medium, and you start learning how to do medical medium stuff and protocols, like you do the spinach soup, which is overt fat-free, and you do that for lunch after you have something like this mulberry fruit cereal, you know what happens? Your liver starts to turn around, starts to heal and regenerate and grow new cells. Healings, healthy cells, clean cells. Your gallbladder starts to purge. Your intestinal tract starts to clean out. Your bloodstream starts to thin out a little bit. Is what happens. I should read a couple of comments if you guys... Let's go. All right. Amber Gardner, Life-Changing Foods book is the real deal. Taught me how to save my life. That's incredible. Jasmine, I'm so happy. I'm so glad to see you. I watched your live broadcast for the first time. I realized that both body and mind need protected. The news very shockingly recently. Yeah, I think everyone should protect their hearts. Jasmine, thank you for being here. And by the way, YouTube doesn't send out enough notifications. They only send it out to, I think, a handful of people, sometimes none at all. So, we're still shadowed, greatly. And Instagram doesn't send out notifications, only to a handful of people, only to a handful, and sometimes none at all. So, yeah, so you might want to just check the feeds periodically, be around medical medium, social media, so that you can catch a live if it's possible, definitely. Okay, Sidra. Over there on YouTube, I eat mulberries as a kid at my grandmother's house. What a blessing. See, that's a memory to hold on to. She had 4 mulberry trees. This is bringing me back to my childhood. Now, Sidra, I want to say something. If this is what happens if you ever not feel good or have a chronic illness or you're dealing with autoimmune or you're dealing with anything or you're just unwell for a day or whatever, keep in mind that it's those memories. And I want everybody to know, if you have a chronic illness, if you have autoimmune disease, everybody, what memory can you go back to? And if you don't have one, then we create a new one. But if you have a memory you can go back to, like such a thing, God, and you can bring yourself back to the past. It's so healing, so healing. Awakening in Seattle over there on IG, I think, Anthony, your information has healed my brain fog. I feel like myself again. It gave me my confidence back. Confidence is important. Losing confidence is not a great thing. Not at all. And this is so good. Oh, I can't get enough of this cereal. Other comments on here, I'm looking here. "119 days fat-free. Adin, 119 days fat-free. It's amazing. Wow. So many great comments here. Okay. Yep. Sorry, guys. Adeline. "Hi, I'm new from Canada. Welcome here. Welcome to the Medical Medium Cooking Show live." "Hi, I'm new from Canada. My boyfriend from Germany introduced me to your books and recipes. Never been so mind blown. Inspiring, really. Thank you, Adeline. The information is mind blowing. The amount of protocols is mind blowing. Can't get that in any book anywhere in the health world. It doesn't happen. You can't get this help anywhere in the health world, in the books, in the information out there. You can't get it anywhere. It's here, the Medical Medium podcast. It's at the medicalmedium.com website. It's here at the Medical Medium live stream. It's in the Medical Medium book series. It's just really special. And I can't take all the credit. My ego has had to be adjusted with that. Going back, I had to kind of like kick that ego out because I can't take all the credit for this, for the information and everything else, because of Spirit of Compassion. I mean, I could have just been quiet and never, ever, ever mentioned Spirit of Compassion from the beginning of my childhood and just took all the credit, you know, with all the incredible information and all the healing protocols and all the people healed. And I could just have the credit. But no, I got to credit Spirit of Compassion. So I've had to get along with that my whole life. All right, so Jay Arsenault over there on YouTube. "My skin was full of open sores for 6 years. Whoa. And now I am healed thanks to you. No doctor could help me." Jay Arsenault, thank you for being here on YouTube. Thank you for all the work you put into it by using the Medical Medium information. It takes dedication. I'm sure you've been dedicated and you're doing it. And I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. Truly. So good. So good. I mean, it's a screwed up world for so many reasons. No, I know, and it's unbelievable how this world works for so many ways. Steffi says, "Talk about Cafe Gratitude and the book signing." Okay. November 4th, November 5th, Cafe Gratitude, two dinner nights. I'm going to be signing books. Hopefully I'll have a stack of books and I'll be signing them. But listen, if you can't get, because those seats are limited, you know, a couple hundred seats a night for those 2 nights. If you can't get a seat, have no fear. I'm going to be at Barnes & Noble book signing there November 6th. I think I have my dates right. November 6th. So November 6th, a day after November 5th, the second night at Cafe Gratitude, I'm going to be in Glendale. It's in LA, Los Angeles. Glendale, Barnes & Noble. It's a 3-story Barnes & Noble. I hope you come because it's going to be kick butt. It's going to be kick butt. I'm going to make sure I fill that Barnes & Noble of light one way or another. I'm going to fill it up with light. I'm going to ask Spirit of Compassion to fill that building up with light before I even step into it. I'm going to do that hands down because I'm going to be in a big old public spot and I am going to fill that Barnes & Noble with light. So when you enter into that Barnes & Noble, I am hoping you feel that light. That is going to be a book signing. So there's room there, meaning those won't be limited tickets. Just go and go to that one there. If you can't get into Cafe Gratitude for the 4th and the 5th when we do the registration, okay? I mean, it's limited there at Barnes, but not like, but you got to sign up, and there should be a spot for you. So you have to sign up so they can expect you. That's how it works. That's how it works. November 4th and November 5th, I'll be at Cafe Gratitude. We're going to release that information. Get on the Medical Medium newsletter so you can get that registry information. So you can sign up to hopefully get a ticket for the 4th and the 5th. I'm going to be signing books. I'm going to have a stack of books there. And then at Barnes in Noble in Glendale on November 6th, make sure you sign up there for that, because make sure you sign up for that too. And that's important because that's going to be the book signing. But like I said, I'm going to fill that building with light. I'm going to really, really crank it like nobody's business. Be on the lookout early next week for signups. So be on the lookout for Medical Medium newsletter if you can. Make sure you're on the newsletter. Make sure you're on it, all right? See? All right, you guys. Fantastic day. Listen out for the Medical Medium podcast. I have an interesting episode coming out. I'm going to try to put it out at the beginning of the week. So look out for it. We're talking about planet Mars, and we're talking about the book of Revelation. Specifically, we're talking about the King James Bible, book of Revelation. But we're talking a little bit about that, and we're talking about Mars. So that's the episode coming out in the Medical Medium podcast. Try not to miss that episode. I think you're going to like it. Katie, register. How is it possible to be happy and at peace in this messed up and corrupt world? It's the little things. It's the little things. Very important to know, okay? It's all the little things, even the smallest. Looking at the beautiful birds, that alone is so powerful. And see things that God wants you to see. See things in nature that God wants you to see, and remember that your soul most likely has been here before and has seen a lot of things. And so a soul is filled with all kinds of beautiful memories from the past and beautiful experiences. And, we have to think about there's other things we can think about to kind of persevere past all the terrible things that are happening in this world. Understanding light and darkness is critical too. There's evil people on the planet. Like, seriously evil people on the planet. People in the hierarchy that you don't even know their names. Far richer than the richest person that's publicly, far richer than any billionaire that is publicly known on this planet. Like, you think, you always hear this, like, you always hear like the richest man on the planet or the richest billionaire on the planet, right? Whatever the 4 richest billionaires on the planet, like, you can name them. They're like a grain of rice compared to the hidden trillionaire behind the scenes that makes the world go round, causes so many problems and so forth. Like I always say, the illumination. It's a whole nother thing. They got the wealth that they have is unlike anything anybody even understands. Like, anyway, Aquarius, I brought my dad to the last Light Blast event at Organic Crush because he was in so much pain from a recent car accident with no relief. A few days afterwards, he had days with no pain. Thank you, AW. That gets me emotional for a lot of reasons. Can't wait to see you guys too. Are you guys going to be here for my next live whenever I do it? Are you guys going to look out for the live? We're live. It's not pre-recorded. Medical Medium. Cooking show. And make sure you get a pre-order. Make sure you pre-order the LCF. You guys on Instagram, you don't have this book. I know most of you guys know that. You already pre-ordered it, maybe. Hopefully you pre-ordered it. But there's a whole bunch of people. I got that book. No, you don't. It's a whole book on top of a book. It's the brand new book. It's a brand new book. Anyway. All right, you guys. And don't order the paperback. It's a fraud. It's a fraud. Don't touch the paperback. Just get the hardcover. All right? All right, you guys. Lots of love.
Everyone is different, but not in the way we normally think everyone is different. Our souls are different. Everyone's soul is different. Your soul is different than another person. Another person's soul is different than yours. No two souls are the same. And even though our physical bodies are different and they look different, as humans, they're meant to function in the same way. Every person on this planet needs to eat food in some way, and that's the same. And when it comes down to our hearts, our heart has to beat. And that's where we're not different. We're just not different. Until something goes wrong and we can't walk anymore, until something goes wrong and we can't talk, or our blood gets clogged, or our heart doesn't beat right. And that's where the differences come in, and that's where we become different. Different internal problems with our physical bodies can create endless differences